Welcome, everybody, to a brand new episode of Audionots, episode number 19. We are here with our first ever guest. I'm so excited. I want to introduce everybody to Stagmo. Say hi, Stag.
Hey, guys. I'm Stagmo.
Stagmo is the creator of a brand new, it's still playtesting, right? In the works board/card game called Taco Tuesday. And I thought that maybe we could talk a little bit about like why you love games so much, what this game's about, and anything else you want to chat about.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, I've been working on Taco Tuesday for I want to say a year and a half now.
Damn.
It's basically, it's a card game at its core, and it's kind of evolved over time. It's kind of a hard balance to simplify it so it's a nice, clean experience for everyone, and it's not too complicated, but also give interesting choices so people aren't just oh, this game is kind of playing itself and I'm just randomly going to win or lose.
That's really the key, I think, to the best games, right? So you should be able to learn it really quick and be able to understand the mechanics of it fairly quickly, but at the same time continue to develop as a player so that you could get better at it and do different types of techniques and things. And the very best games have that they find that perfect line of how to do that. And I got it. You sent me a copy of this, and I was able to play test Taco Tuesday with my family, and I think you're on the right track. I think this is the right idea.
Cool. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I think my hardest part recently has been the simplifying part, because I added all this stuff. I was oh, it'd be cool if I did this or this, but it's just trying to get everything that's not fun taken out of it so that it's just the fun stuff.
I know, you realize how much work it is to have fun.
Yeah, exactly.
I like though that you have basically 3 versions. So you have the tutorial, the basic, and then the more kind of advanced versions of it. And I think that makes a difference with players. If I can sit down and learn a game in just a few minutes, but continue to get better at it each time, that's what gives it kind of the replayability.
I'm actually working on a new version of it right now that seems to be going pretty well. And it's kind of simplified it down more. But I think the biggest thing is just, like you said, just trying to get it so the people that have never played it before can pick it up really quick.
Correct. Yeah. Why don't you give everybody a quick rundown of what the game is like, how you play it?
Okay. Well, yeah. So basically the idea is everyone's running a taco truck and you're trying to get the most customers to come to your truck. And you do that by creating a menu. Basically, you're making recipes for different types of tacos. So You might have a Baja taco, or you might have a Tex-Mex type taco or whatever. There's all these different recipe cards, and each card tells you which ingredients you need to make that recipe. So then throughout the game, you're collecting ingredients, and then you're performing different sort of actions to help you get more ingredients and get what you need to build your tacos.
In this game, it has dynamics where you could mess other people up, or no? Can I attack my opponent in any way, or is it just I gotta get it done quicker and better than him or her?
There's not direct attacking necessarily, but because everything's based off of the popular recipe section,
right?
So everyone has a recipe card in their hand to start out, so only they can build that. But there's this popular recipe section where everyone's trying to build the recipes that are there at the same time. So what you can do is kind of mess with that by reserving cards from there or getting rid of cards from there. And what that does is if someone's trying to get that, recipe, then all of a sudden now they have to figure out something else they could do.
Right. It's kind of my son, Kid Danger, loves playing that train game. The hell's that game? Take It to Ride. Yeah. And I always try to mess him up when I could start to tell where he's trying to go by just putting stuff in the way. So it's it's not necessarily built for you to mess with him, but if you do it right, you can.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And the other part that's cool, there's a section of the game. So it's kind of broken into 2 phases. First, you go to the vendors to collect your ingredients, and then you do your actions after that. So when you go to your vendors, if you can see kind of based on what people are picking up and doing, sometimes you can tell what recipe they're going for.
Right.
If you can, and like an ingredient for that recipe shows up at the vendors, you can go to the same vendor as them, and then you can pay some extra coins to get the ingredient before them, basically. So there are ways still to like mess with people if you can sort of figure out what they're doing.
That's awesome. What do you think about Taco Tuesday, Ren? I know that you're an expert at eating tacos. Are you an expert at taco card games?
Well, as we learned from the years, I pick up playing games pretty quickly.
It's true.
I know that Stagmo likes playing those like really, really extravagant games, and I pick up games pretty quickly. But it's fun. I enjoyed it. We played it. We had like a quarantine night where we just played board games, and we took it out. My little sister was like, "What's this?" I was like, "Dude, this is Taco Tuesday." It's fun, yeah.
Yeah, what we need to do is make a drinking game version of it where we could add in some cervezas to go with Taco Tuesday, and then they can have some real fun. So what led you to the wanting to make games? I mean, is this what you want to do? Is this like a passion? You want to do it for a living? You're just doing it kind of for fun? Is it a side hustle? I mean, what led to this?
It's definitely a side hustle. Based on my research that I've found, like you can make a living off of it, but it's a lot of work because there's not a whole lot of profit margin in board games.
Right.
A lot of times the cost for your materials takes up like so much of your profit. There's not like, especially if you're the designer, unless you're publishing it yourself, you're not really making a whole lot. So you'd have to design a lot of games or, get lucky and get that one hit game that like sells 1 million copies. And those guys, I'm sure, are doing just fine. But for me, it's definitely a side hustle type of thing. And it's mostly for fun. I have no hard deadlines or any sort of like pressure to finish a game or anything like that, which I like. I like that part of it because I don't feel like I need to like finish this now or anything like that. It's more just like I want to make it the most fun game possible before I like sell it to a publisher where they can like put it out there.
Nice. I really like the art on it too. Did you do all your own artwork?
I did some of my own artwork, but just knowing that a lot of publishers will use their own artists or change things up. I mostly found artwork online. There's sites where you can subscribe to like the site and you get all these like assets for free. I was able to just download, all sorts of cool vector art that taken me hours and hours to build if I did it myself. So I did a few things. Obviously I did the logo and I did all the like graphic design aspects, but most of the illustrations are from other websites.
I love it. So what other games, when you're not making games, what games do you like to play? Because as Ren pointed out, he's a quick learner. He's a quick study, so he can play pretty much any games. What people may not know about me is I'm a straight grade A idiot, and I can only play simple games. And if they're not simple, I can't do it, and I give up. But I know you like the more like intricate games. So tell us what your faves are.
Yeah, I have a pretty wide selection of games that I like. Most of the time it comes down to whatever people play with me.
Right.
but I really like my favorite mechanic in board games is the worker placement. So there's a lot of games that use that. My favorite probably of those would be Stone Age. So I would say like anytime someone wanted to play that game, I would play it. Like that's one of my favorite games.
So can you explain worker placement to the audience?
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know what that is.
So worker placement is, it can be applied in different ways, but the basic concept is that everyone has these little character pieces that they can place on the board in different spots. And based on where you place your guy, he does some sort of action.
Okay.
So in Stone Age, it's pretty simple. You all start with 5 guys and you can put them at different locations to try to collect different resources. So there's like wood and brick and stone and gold and food. And you need all these resources to like build buildings and, buy cards that give you extra points and stuff like that. So like each turn, everyone takes turns placing guys on the board where they want to go. But like if I go somewhere, then now it might block so no one else can go there. So that's kind of the main idea of worker placement, is just like actions on a board that can be taken up by workers. And as you play the game, you can get more workers or they can do more things or whatever, depending on the game.
Got it.
But that mechanic can, I found that most of my favorite games use that mechanic. So that's why.
Is it because what you've become really good at kind of like that gameplay type, so that when you go from game A to game B, you've already got a little bit of an advantage because you know almost how to use it better than maybe somebody else?
Yeah, there's definitely things that you can see in the games where like it might use things the same way.
Yeah.
So, like, one game. Another one I like is Istanbul, which is sort of a worker placement, but it's more like worker movement because you're moving around a board and there's actions at each spot you can land on. But it's a lot of the same things apply. Like you're saying, you can apply certain strategies across different types of board games that use this.
That's very
No
cool.
wonder nobody wants to play you, man. You just own them, dude. You're like a board game pro player.
I always get lost in all the details. Like every time I've ever tried playing those games, like I got 58 cards in front of me and I'm like, oh, I don't know what's happening. So I'm just like laying things down. The person next to me is telling me I can't do that. It's a whole ordeal.
Yeah. Yeah. The other types of games I like are like anything with a really strong theme, because I like the visual artwork, in games. So there's some really cool artwork in games nowadays. One that I just picked up and haven't gotten to play yet, that's also a worker placement, so that's an added plus, is called Everdell, and it's a more recent game. It came out a couple years ago, I think. But it's got all these cute little like forest creatures and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And little wooden characters that are like squirrels and stuff like that. So like all these woodland creatures, and you go and try to like build up your little woodland village. So it's mostly like buying and placing cards, but you have to get certain resources to do it. And there's different combinations you can do. So like, one card might help you play a different card.
On average, how long do the types of games you like to play last? Are they like hours?
I'm not a big fan of the games that take hours to play. I think my sweet spot would be like either short games that are like 20 minutes that you can play a couple times in a row at least. Or the games that are like maybe an hour to an hour and a half. I feel like that's a good length of time where like you feel like you can, make a cool experience out of it. It takes you have something that you can build on in that period of time and feel accomplished at the end, even if you didn't win.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. I think I'm with you on the short games too, because I feel like it gives more of the players an opportunity to have victory, because it really is nobody hopefully gets so upset about losing, but it's always fun when you win. And so if the three of us are playing, I sure like an opportunity to get lucky and win once.
Yeah, exactly.
So if like nobody's ever played that game before, what do you recommend? Like a certain time frame game for them to play? Like, would you recommend
no one's ever played what?
Like your game that you just mentioned? Would you recommend the 20-minute games, or would you recommend like the 40-minute games?
The best thing to do is Google gateway board games, because there's literally a category of board games that are meant to be like a gateway into the hobbyist board game.
Like
group.
drugs.
Kind of like, basically the idea is that there's thousands of board games that come out every year, and a lot of people don't even realize that. And so when you start to like look into all the different board games, you realize how many are out there. And what's one cool thing that's been happening in the last few years is that like some of the big box stores have been picking up some of these, more indie games, and like Target is really big
I've seen it at Target.
Picking up games that aren't found elsewhere. And so certain games have become more mainstream, like Ticket to Ride. A lot of people know about that one now. And that was definitely not a mainstream game until recently. So I think if you look up gateway games, there's a lot of really good ones. Ticket to Ride is a good one. Stone Age is a great one for worker placement. It's recommended by pretty much everyone as a good entry into the worker placement, genre, basically.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, I'd have to look at my list of board games, because people are like, oh yeah, what's your favorite games? I've like, can I give you like 50?
Depends on the day.
That's kind of what I'm looking at. Yeah.
How many games do you think you have?
I've got about 100, because I have them all like listed. There's like a database website you can put all the games you own into.
You're my
called
kind of guy.
Boardgame.
You have your games listed in a database. That's amazing.
Yes.
I love it.
So yeah, Board Game Geek is this database, and I think you actually introduced me to that when we were working on Campfire. And, like,
Yep.
I've been using it ever since. So like, you know,
Nice.
when I buy board games, I put them on my list and keep track of the ones I have.
That's
They should
awesome.
do like a reward system where they like give you points from the games you own and you get like free stuff.
They make the list its own game.
Yeah. They have some sort of gaming like in their website for like doing certain things. You can earn badges and stuff like that.
Right.
I don't really pay attention to that stuff.
Do you play video games anymore, or are you solely board game guy now?
You know, I was really into video games basically up through when I got married. And that's about when I
that's what
stopped.
happens.
That
huh?
sounds about right.
Obviously, because you're sitting there by yourself and your wife's like, what do you want? So
I'm getting that a lot
don't
now
play
too.
as much, but I do still play. Mainly nowadays, I'm playing mostly like a couple games on my phone and then like on my Nintendo Switch because it's mobile. I can take it wherever I want,
Right.
and I like that part of it. So I'm into like all the Nintendo Switch, like the first party games. Those are pretty much the only ones I play. So Zelda and Mario,
Yeah.
different types of ones of those. I just got Mario Maker 2, so I've been like making my own levels and
Nice.
stuff.
Nice. Do you know how like esports and gaming is really popular now with like streaming?
Yeah.
Does Board Game have its own like streaming where
Well,
you
that's
like
interesting,
streaming what you play, you know?
They do sort of, but it's mostly for like new games that are coming out. So like most of the people that stream board games is like, here's this new game I'm getting to test before it even comes out and like show you guys how cool it is. So I don't see a whole lot of people like competitions in board games or whatever.
That could be
Even though
interesting.
Yeah.
there are like board game competitions. I know that Red knows all about like card game competitions and stuff like that, and they have all across the world.
I've been to a few myself.
Right, that makes sense. So there's card game competitions when you get to like the Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon type cards.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like this idea that Ren's had of competitive board gaming. You just have people like being really
Bird's eye
intense about
view.
it. Oh my God. Yeah, add some like intense music, have like somebody announcing it. I'd be totally down, especially right now. Maybe we could even gamble on it since there's no sports anymore.
Yeah.
It'd be pretty
Solid.
interesting considering like people are sitting around watching like animal races and marble races and stuff like that. Like I could totally see like board game competitions being like especially a thing right now.
Oh, absolutely. The
It's
Board
like
Game
Stone
League
Age
of
Elite.
Champions. That's awesome.
Maybe make it like a TV show too. That'd be interesting.
Well, you know, Dan Harmon had a TV show for a while where he played Dungeons and Dragons with his celebrity pals. And so he'd have like 4 or 5 comedians come over and they would film it. And then because he was already starting to work with Justin Roiland, this was right before Rick and Morty took off. They would film the episodes of them playing the games. And because the comedians would make jokes the whole time and make it pretty hilarious, Justin Roiland, as they were going, would cut away from the comedians actually playing it to actual animation of the characters doing what they said they were doing.
Right.
And it was such a genius idea. But they, for whatever dumb reason, when it was first on, they forced you to go on some weird like streaming network that no one in the world owned, and it cost money. You can watch it all now for free on YouTube. I can't remember what it's called. It
was before its time, man.
Yeah, it was. You put that out right now, it's a success. Yeah, so they were just a step too far ahead.
I know the one that I like watching that has ended a long time ago now is Tabletop with Will Wheaton.
Oh yeah,
Star
I
Trek.
remember that.
Yeah.
And that show is pretty good. That one was one of the ones that was like, here's basically you would just play his favorite games. Most of the games he played on there were gateway type games. They're like really easy to play because he would play with
Newbies,
celebrities,
right?
or quote unquote celebrities,
Right.
not always well known, but
Z-listers.
yeah. So he would play all sorts of games on there, and most of those were pretty easy pick up games that don't really require a lot of like heavy.
Nice.
Competitive board gamers, dude. That's where it's at.
That's where it's at. As soon as you get off this podcast, you need to start working that out. That's where the money's at.
I want to start streaming it next week.
Well, let me ask you, do you listen to podcasts? Are there any board game podcasts? There's got to be, right? There's a podcast for everything.
Yes, there are. I don't listen to very many of them. I listen to 2 that are like board game design podcasts.
Okay.
So those are pretty cool. The biggest one is the Board Game Design Lab. That's the one I like the most. Ludology has a huge following, so that's the other one I listen to. But I like them both. But I feel like the Board Game Design Lab I've gotten the most out of. From that
Nice. I might have to give it a listen, see if I'm into it.
Yeah.
So, do you want to stick around for the whole show and comment on all of our amazing things, or do you got to go?
I got to go at some point, but I'll definitely stick around for a while.
All right. So
just let us know.
We have a few. Yeah, you can bell whenever you want to. But so our first segment that we generally start with, because there's nothing going on in the world except for TV. So our favorite category is called the healthy stream. And generally what I do is I start off asking Ren what he's been watching. But since you're our guest, I want to know, Stagmo, what have you been watching?
I've been watching. I haven't been watching a whole lot, but I did watch. I'm watching through Supernatural, and it takes forever to watch. There's so many seasons.
It's so good,
but I'm like getting close to the end, and I mean it's entertaining, like it's definitely like so far off from anything like actual like religion or whatever, but it's so entertaining just in itself. So I've been trying to through to the end. I want to see how they finish it off.
Is it done? Is that show completed?
Yeah.
Okay.
It ended recently, so there's 15 seasons, and I think the last season was like a couple of years ago or a year ago or something.
Yeah, that's your favorite show, right, Ren? Like of all time?
Yeah, all time.
Have you seen it all the way to conclusion?
No, I'm waiting for him to be on Netflix so I can just binge it.
Ah, got it.
It's on Netflix.
The last season?
Oh, the last season? I don't know.
Yeah. So I'm waiting for the last
13,
season. Yeah.
So I'm just
13 out of 15.
Yeah, 15. I'm waiting for 15 to be on Netflix so I could binge watch it.
Nice. What else? What else have you been watching? Anything else?
I've mostly watched shows with my wife. And trying to think of like.
So if you name all the lame stuff, you're gonna blame her.
Yeah, no, it's more of like it's just so much easier to watch with her. Just because that's most of our free time is like once the kids are in bed, it's just us. So, we just finished Sanditon, which she really likes the period pieces, so it's on BBC. And we have a PBS through my wife's parents. So
nice.
So we watched that one, and it's based on like a Jane Austen novel that she never completed before she died, or something like that. So they made like it's kind of like a mini series. It's 8 episodes, and I don't think there's like a season 2.
Everybody's like, we've got it, because there was no book. They like ran out of ideas. In the second seasons, the robots start to come in.
Yeah, they're just basing it off of the book. So I think they went from start to finish. It seemed pretty final at the end.
Yeah.
So I think that's
more of
just
a mini series. Yeah.
But we were really into the Downton Abbey, so that was like kind of like hits the same spot. If you like Downton Abbey, Sanditon's a good show.
Nice.
Gosh, I want to think of like what we have seen. I love watching through The Office all the time. It's like my go-to.
Yeah.
So
did you see that Steve Carell is coming out with a new show from the Office creator called Space Force?
Yes, I did. I can't wait for that to come out.
Yeah. And speaking of those types of shows, did you guys know that tonight, what day is it? April 30 something? Is a special episode of Parks and Rec, where they've filmed every one of them just like we're doing right now via Zoom. And so they've got back all the major characters, and they're playing their characters, and they're all checking in on each other during the coronavirus. But it's an episode of Parks and Rec, and all the money they make from the commercial sales goes to like a COVID charity or some sort. I thought that was pretty awesome.
What? That's tonight?
It's tonight on NBC. So anybody listening to this, it's too late or for you. So you're going to have to watch on Hulu. But that looks pretty good. What have you been watching, Ren?
More of Kim's Convenience, man.
Oh, snap.
That show's so good.
And that's it? That's all you've been watching? It's Kim's Convenience?
And then I got into Quibi, started watching that Dummy show.
Yeah.
We're like halfway through with that.
That show absolutely shocked me. So that show I think is pretty funny to begin with because it stars, Anna Kendrick and her sex doll. The way it tracks just caught me so off guard because it was funny. And then the last 3 episodes are down to, there's only 10 episodes in the whole season. And the last 3 episodes are so like pushing the line of good taste that it's extra funny to me. I couldn't believe it. It was killing me.
Wait, so all the episodes are out?
Yeah, so it's a 10 episode season, and it's completely done. So if you want to watch it to conclusion, you can.
Stagmo, you should get Quibi, dude.
Yeah, I'm thinking I should because I think today's the last day to get the free. So I should just
sign up
for it.
Yeah, you get 90 days for free. They have I was shocked at how much content they have, and it's all original content. Some of it's absolute garbage, and some of it though is pretty good. And you're kind of shocked that they were able to land such good celebrities because there's so many good celebrities. I also started watching because you recommended it to me, Ren. I don't know if you've actually watched it or you just told me it looked good, but I jumped into What We Do in the Shadows. And that show is so great.
Is it funny?
Yeah. Have either one of you guys watched that?
I haven't even heard of that.
I saw them like advertised to me because I like vampires.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, looks so interesting. And there's it's based on like a
Taika Waititi.
Yeah, Taika Waititi show.
Yeah. So
and it has like a lot of like comedians that's funny too, like Craig Robinson and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, every episode has like really good comedians. In fact, one of I wouldn't say the main star, but like one of the smaller stars of the show, the side star, is Jonah Hill's sister from Booksmart. I forget her real name, but she's one of the characters that ends up turning into a vampire, like episode 3, I think. But the show is really good because it's on FX. Like Ren was saying, it's based on Taika Waititi film. So there was a movie called What We Do in the Shadows, and it kind of ties into the like in The Office. It's like, what if The Office was about vampires?
Yeah.
And so they never really explain it from the very beginning. They just say, we're being filmed for a documentary, and they're just cool with it. And so the whole thing's documentary style, and so they'll look and talk directly into the camera, just like The Office. But they're vampires from way back when, but they haven't really transitioned to the newest times. So they're kind of old school, and there's more new current vampires, and there's werewolves, and the whole thing is just super funny. And one of the vampires, they all have like people that kind of like humans that are like their slaves that work for them. And the one guy just wants to be a vampire so bad, and he keeps thinking that his vampire is going to finally bite him and turn him, but he never does. And so he just becomes bummed out like every episode, like Charlie Brown.
Were you watching season 1?
Yeah, I started on season 1. So I'm watching season 1 right now on Hulu, but I started recording season 2 on the YouTube so I could fast forward through it. But I recommend What We Do in Shadows. It is really funny. And you could tell your wife, Stagmo, that it's a PBS show because they all have British accents.
That's great. Well, I love me some zombie shows. That's the other one. I'm waiting for it to come out on Netflix. I never watch it in person. Is The Walking Dead, the latest season. We're just waiting for that to come out. I know it usually comes out in like the fall or something for the previous season.
Walking Dead for me was so good for a really long time, and then they killed all my favorite characters, and it made me angry. I kind of quit watching it. Ren, you still watched it, right?
Stagmo, are you caught up?
I haven't seen the season that's like that just aired or is still airing or whatever. I haven't seen the most recent season, but I've seen everything that's on Netflix. So.
Okay, like To the Whispers then, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I like Old Boy said, it's like I feel like they definitely start killing off the good characters, but I feel like that's one of those shows I feel like I've invested too much in. I got to see the end. Like I got to see how they finish it.
Well, you still got Daryl, man. He's still hanging strong.
Yeah, you still have Daryl. As soon as everybody started getting really cartoony, like they introduce all the weird cartoony style characters, I was just like, oh my, I can't handle it anymore. not enough of the good stuff. So
Yeah.
Well, did you watch Fear the Walking Dead?
I haven't seen any of that. I just never really got that interested in it. Like, I don't know, maybe someday I'll like binge it or something. But
That
the
one's
first
actually
3
pretty
seasons,
good.
the first 3 seasons. After that, it gets stupid too because they kill all of them too.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert: everybody on the zombie show dies.
Imagine that.
And there's some like crossovers too.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
'cause
I feel like those shows, it's like any of those shows, when they start killing everyone off, it's like you just kind of expect it. Like I hear spoilers and I'm like, yeah, I didn't really, I kind of expected it, so whatever.
Yeah, it's not that big a deal, for sure. What else has been on? Oh, I remember last episode, Ren, I was trying to tell you about the 4 series that I finished watching, and I couldn't for the life of me remember the 4th one. It was Future Man. I finally finished Future Man. And
I need to watch season 3.
It's amazing. So season 1 is by far pure gold, 10 out of 10, excellent sitcom.
Highly recommend. Watch it.
Highly recommend. Season 2, I didn't like it as much as Rin did. I thought they focused too much on the tiger and wolf characters, and they're a little over the top. Yeah, it's okay. And then season 3, though, they come back around, and I thought season 3 was really tight, and they had a lot more Seth Rogen. Seth Rogen is the producer of that show, and so he built himself into season 3, the end of season 2, and pretty much all of season 3. And so I really enjoyed having more Seth Rogen because you can't ever have too much Seth Rogen, in my opinion.
You know how that one scene where they time travel, right? They time stop.
Yeah.
They're running, they time jump or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another version of them.
Oh,
I got so confused in that part. I was trying to figure out how they time jump like that. Like
it was almost like something out of Back to the Future, where you can't run into yourself, kind of a thing. Yeah. Anytime they do time travel, the thinking behind it gets so wackadoo that if you overthink it, it doesn't make sense. So you have to just kind of let it go, especially in a sitcom like that.
They made so many duplicates of themselves, and they end up killing all their dupes.
A few of the dupes make it to season 3, including one of the more special ones that didn't turn out quite right. And he ended up like ruining a lot of things. So that was pretty funny.
That makes me think of that show. What is it called? It's an older show where the guy makes clones of himself.
Oh, I feel like I know.
And like they get just stupider and more messed up the more he makes, like duplicity or something.
Yeah,
like
duplicity,
that.
I think, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, with Batman, right?
Yes.
That's a really funny concept.
It's just like the Meeseeks.
Oh right, yeah, Mr. Meeseeks. Look at me. So that kind of covers everything I've been watching on Hulu. Over on Netflix, I watched some more of that Midnight Gospel, and I've decided that you cannot watch that show unless you really enjoy partaking in like mushrooms or some sort of psychedelic. It's so bizarre. The basic concept is pretty clever, right? So it's the guy that does Adventure Time, and then he does a podcast, and then they add the animation to a real podcast. And so what the people are talking about has nothing to do with the animation at all. So the first episode is him talking to Dr. Drew and about psychedelic drugs, in fact, it's real shocking. But it just happens to be, they draw them as like a futuristic world where the president's getting overtaken by zombies and all this like weird stuff. And so that episode kind of worked. But if you don't like what they're talking about on the podcast, which I didn't in the future episodes, it makes the cartoon part of it less exciting. And I really felt like if I wasn't drugged up, it wasn't worth it. So if you're watching Midnight Gospel, you do want to do drugs. So kids, drugs are okay with Midnight Gospel.
In Netflix, I started watching that one show.
Never Have I Ever.
Yes, that one.
That one's great. Have you seen that show, Stagmo?
I haven't. It keeps getting like popping up as like the first thing as soon as I open up Netflix. But
it was pretty funny.
It is.
I watched the first episode, and it was pretty funny.
It runs that really perfect line of being not too cutesy, but also funny. It's just really well done. It's produced by Mindy Kaling, and it gives me,
from The Office
and the Mindy Show. It doesn't. It's not the same as the TV show Atypical. For anybody who's ever watched Atypical, which is also a fantastic sitcom on Netflix, but it has those same kind of vibes where they do such a good job of kind of meshing drama and sitcom comedy together without making it feel cheesy, and the acting's all pretty good, that it's really enjoyable. I mean, I like that show. I think I was telling Ren offline that I learned that the actress in that show was actually picked from an open casting call, and she never acted before. So it's really impressive that she gets to be a star of her own show on Netflix, and she does a killer job.
That's cool.
The first scene where the mom and dad's like, we follow our religion, we're vegetarian, but our daughter turns over, she's like eating ribs and stuff like that.
Yeah, they're talking about because they're like we vegetarians, but our daughter doesn't. She's like just hammering a rib, just like taking it home. And so the basic concept is she's like kind of geeky, so she has two kind of nerdy friends. Yeah. And they've decided for their sophomore year that they all want to get boyfriends because they're tired of not having boyfriends. And so while this sounds like a little kid show, it's definitely not for little kids. But for older teens and adults, it's really funny. The girl's a good actress. All the kids actually are pretty good actors. So I really enjoyed it. I was thinking, we talked, I don't know how many episodes ago, we talked about they were looking to cast Miss Marvel, because Miss Marvel in the comics is a 16-year-old Muslim girl. And I know that not all Indians are Muslim, but this girl in the show would be perfect for that part. Right. She looks the part. She's the right age. I mean, I couldn't pronounce her name if I tried, but she deserves a shot at it.
We'll just call her Debbie, like the show.
Yeah. Yeah, her name is they say Davy almost, right? Because the kid that didn't like her keeps calling her David on purpose, even though her name's spelled Devi.
And the narrator is John McEnroe.
Yeah, and they describe in the first episode why he's the narrator, but it's so good having angry tennis player John McEnroe narrate this coming of age sitcom of a little Indian girl. So I really I enjoy it. So I'm with you, Ren. I give Never Have I Ever 2 thumbs up. It's a must watch.
I'll have to give it more episodes in.
Yeah, I'm only
the first one.
2 or 3 episodes in, but I really liked it. And they're only like 25 minutes a piece, so it doesn't take much to watch them. Right. My mom's been harassing me because she loves to watch Netflix, and she says, you got to watch this show called Outer Banks. And I refuse to watch it for the longest time because it looks like the OC, like, on an island, or like Riverdale, or one of those style of shows. And honestly, I have to be fair to her. I watched the first episode, and it wasn't nearly as bad as I expected it to be, because I thought for sure it was going to be absolute trash, something I wasn't into. So while it is, in fact, very much OC, that style of show, for the older kids out there, 90210, but they do a clever job mixing in the mystery. The acting's fairly decent. The cinematography is actually pretty outstanding. So the show looks like it's done very well. I enjoy it. So there's enough mystery that's not so cheesy that's kind of enjoyable. So I don't give it 2 thumbs up. I give it a half a thumb up if you're into that kind of thing. Outer Banks isn't the greatest, but it's also not the worst.
You're a good son. 1 episode in?
1 episode in. She also tried to sell me on this show called Zoe's something playlist. And they had this redheaded girl that basically goes into like a CAT scan, and there's an earthquake, and the guy who's CAT scanning her accidentally uploads his iPod into her brain or something. And so she gets this basically like a superpower where she can sense someone's emotion, because they don't have to say it out loud, but she can see them singing and dancing to a song that expresses their emotion, but she's the only one that can see it. And I tried my mom loves this show, and I tried my hardest to watch it, but I absolutely hated it. So I do not recommend it.
You as the audience get to see what she sees, right?
Right. So we as the audience get to see everybody dance around singing, and I'm not a big fan of musicals. So that was kind of a turnoff. But it's a little too cop rocky for me, but whatever.
I feel like that show it sounds like it's what you see is what you get. Like if you're into that, then yeah, go for it.
Yeah, if you were a fan of Glee, I think that you would love Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist. Now, if you don't like watching people run around singing and dancing for no reason for 45 minutes, it's not for you. And so it's not for me. That's all I learned. But there's a lot of good shows. So we talked about Dummy for a second over on Quibi, and that one was a winner for me. 10 episodes. I liked all 10 of them. But did you see the most fantastic news ever? That one of my all-time favorite shows is being revived on Quibi. Anyone?
No.
Want to try a guess?
Hold on. Is it a reality show?
Nope. It's a sitcom. And it's an old sitcom from Comedy Central. And they're bringing it back with all the original cast.
The Man Show.
No, that would be good.
Oh.
No. Any other guesses? No, that's it? Okay, here we go.
No idea.
Are you ready for this? Reno 911.
Oh.
I saw something briefly about that, but I didn't click on it. I didn't see what it was about.
Yeah, they just released the trailer like yesterday. And so it looks exactly the same as it used to be. So if you were an old school Reno 911 fan, which I am, it is the best sitcom I've seen in forever. So I'm excited to see how they do it in 10-minute increments because every show on Quibi is 10 minutes or less.
Yeah.
But they got everybody back. All the original people are back. Some of them got kind of fat. Some of them got kind of old, but that happens to us all. So I get it. But the show itself looks like it's exactly the same format. They just kind of come back and they're just back at it again. So I think that comes out. I wrote it down here. May comes out mid-May sometime. So I'm super stoked that my 90-day free trial will hopefully still be kicking around by the time Reno 911 gets fully released because I love that show. And it's hard to find reruns unless you have Viacom or one of those MTV type carriers. You don't get Comedy Central, which I don't get because YouTube doesn't carry Viacom stations. So I can't watch reruns of Reno 911 anywhere.
Man, Quibi's putting a lot of money in their shows, huh?
Dude, they're going to go broke. I've seen like all these reviews and I don't think people are digging on the Quibi. Like as much as I like it, I don't know that I'd pay for it. I like it for free. Who doesn't like free stuff? But yeah, I saw they put $1.8 billion into programming and that may have been a mistake. So we shall see.
This is like the perfect time for people to watch shows. If it doesn't make it, then I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we're all like at home more. We're quarantined more often than not. We're sheltering in place. We're not going out and doing fun stuff. So yeah, it's the golden age of TV, that's for sure. As long as, get on your treadmill or your Bowflex once in a while, you'll be good.
I feel like they're definitely setting themselves up to like hopefully be bought out by one of the other companies. Like
right.
If they could get the right programming and get someone to buy them out, that's where they'd make their money.
Well, the programming is not that bad. Maybe because of how much they've made, I'd say about half of it's solid. Yeah. I still don't know that I would pay to watch something exclusively on my phone because I've tried everything. We've talked about it in a couple episodes. But I've tried to cast it. I plugged it in. I hardwired the dumb thing from my iPad to my big TV. It'll play the audio, but it won't play the video. They've gone out of their way to make sure you cannot watch Quibi shows on a regular television. It's impossible. Yeah. And so
I feel like if they could get picked up by like a Hulu or a Netflix and be part of like a package deal, like, oh, here, watch it on your phone.
Yeah, that would
perfect. Be the way to go.
Yeah, if
people don't have to pay an extra fee, a new subscription or something like that.
Yeah, if it was a Hulu add-on, you're absolutely right. That would serve them well because I don't think that they're going to last with this particular model. I think they did it because they wanted to be different. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not the audience. I know the younger generation watches more content on their smaller devices, but I think the problem I had, there's some shows that are actually pretty good that I want to sit down and watch with my family, but I can't unless we're all going to hover around my iPad or my phone like a bunch of homeless people around a fire can.
Maybe Quibi's like made to just pitch shows. Like I have an idea, Quibi makes it, hopefully Hulu picks up the show, sort of thing.
That's
because it's so short,
Yeah, no, they actually kind of almost play that exact joke in the last episode of Dummy because as we know, it's based around Dan Harmon's girlfriend writing about their relationship and their real life. And so in the very last episode, the character now is pitching the show as apparently she did in real life. And they're like, do we think we have enough television for an actual half-hour episode? Oh, I'm sure we do. And it's funny because it's on a 10-minute show.
Yeah.
So
because that's what she did to get that show on Quibi, right?
Yeah, I don't think she had a half hour's worth of content for a show. Yeah. So it was good. So yeah, Quibi is good once in a while. If you get it for free, I'd watch it. But otherwise, yeah, it's like forget it. Last but not least, Disney Plus hasn't come out with anything good in a while because a lot of their stuff got delayed thanks to COVID. Stupid COVID. Rona
I
ruined
haven't
everything.
watched anything on Disney Plus
And
besides
I know,
The Mandalorian.
well, that's just it. My wife's been happy because we haven't been talking so much Star Wars, but I'm going to fix that right now. So what's good, and because almost like I love football so much that I watch 4 hours of NFL draft like a real a-hole at home. I would never have done that otherwise, but there's no sports, so I watch draft. There's no Star Wars, so I'm excited to watch Disney Gallery's The Mandalorian documentary television show. And so they're coming out with a show that's dedicated to the making of The Mandalorian.
Nice.
Yeah, so
That's
why
cool.
not? I'm going to watch it because it's more Star Wars. It's like the NFL draft of Star Wars. I'll watch it.
The latest
Which one?
Star Wars movie, isn't that coming to Disney Plus soon?
Yes, so both the Mandalorian documentary and the last Star Wars movie are coming on May 4th because May the 4th be with us.
Oh,
Yeah. Do you have a Disney Plus, Stagmo?
I do, yes.
Nice. So you've seen The Mandalorian, correct?
Oh, of course, yes.
What'd you
Brilliant
think?
show.
Man, if he said no.
I've been putting it off. No, yeah, I watched that. That was like the first thing I watched on there. And then I started digging through all Disney stuff.
Right. I love that show. It was so good because I think that I bought in like early thinking I'm going to love Disney Plus. And there's a lot of good stuff on there because they promised us all these Marvel TV shows that never come out.
Damn freaking Rona, man.
My wife doesn't really like Star Wars. She's not really into it, but I showed her the first scene from that last episode.
Yeah.
With the stormtrooper, or are they stormtroopers or are they a different type?
Oh yeah,
The
those
Death
are
Troopers?
Well, you talking about the ones where they're trying to punch Baby
Funny.
Yoda and shoot the cans?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're still stormtroopers. They're
They are, okay.
Those are the biker guys. I forget. They have their own name.
I showed her that scene and she was cracking up. So I feel like anyone could enjoy this show, really.
Yeah, it's you guys see that's the trick. That's you talked about gateway board games. Maybe you found the gateway Star Wars. You just gotta sneak it in. And the next thing you know, she's like digging it big time and didn't know it. You got her watching Clone Wars before you know it.
Yeah.
That's the real challenge. That's how you know you've won someone over on Star Wars, if you can get them to dig into the cartoons. I'm an adult man and I watch Star Wars cartoons now.
I have to confess I've never seen any of the Clone Wars stuff. And after you guys were talking about it, I'm like, man, I gotta go see those.
It's gotten so good. And I have to admit, the last season of Clone Wars, honestly, has been better than the last 3 Star Wars movies. It's well
from
done.
what I was reading, like they're saying it's better to watch it in like some sort of order, like is it like chronological order or something?
Well, you mean
weird.
the Clone Wars?
Yeah.
Yeah, they have chronological order, and you had to look it up. Our Star Wars historian at work actually sent us an email, and it had it all listed out. And so I actually watched it that way. And for whatever reason, I think you could watch it either way. But when they made this originally, because it's been on multiple networks. It started on like the Cartoon Network, then it moved to Disney HD or XD or whatever it's called. Now it's on Disney Plus. So they've been kind of out of order with the way they've made the episodes, but it takes a little bit to get into because they spend a lot of time at the beginning with the wars part of Star Wars. There's a lot of just spaceships flying at each other and soldiers crashing into each other. But once you get to really know Ahsoka, that character is so well developed because they had so much time to develop her. I felt like they did a better job with her character than they ever did with Rey.
Yeah. I feel like that's the biggest downfall of all the newer Star Wars movies is the character development. Like they do fine in the action and the special effects and stuff. They did great, but I feel like character development is like the core, and that's like what they have never really like. I never really felt a connection to any of the characters that much.
It's because of Ryan Johnson, man. That's ruined it.
I freaking hate Ryan Johnson. So we're happy to say that Audionots personally hates Ryan Johnson.
I mean, like The Force Awakens, they started to develop the characters, but then freaking Ryan Johnson comes along and just like, nope, clean slate. Like, what happened?
Yeah, and there's a lot of Ryan Johnson fanboys that say that JJ ruined it in the next one, but JJ was just trying to fix everything Ryan ruined, and then the whole thing was just messed up. It's like, so the only good movie really of those 3 is the first one. Force Awakens is a fantastic film. And then Last Jedi sucks. And Rise of the Skywalker is a flip of the coin on how you're feeling that day.
Well, like we were saying, there's more bad than good in Star Wars.
Yeah, I love Star Wars. I would consider myself a 100% Star Wars fan. But if you like grilled me on it, you're absolutely right. There's way more things I don't like about Star Wars than I like. But the things I like so much. And I think it makes a big difference that my age, I'm in that group, that I grew up with the OG series. And that really helped me develop what I like about science fiction and those style of movies. And I think that's probably why I always have love in my heart for those, no matter how cheesy they may seem now.
I mean, like, look, Skywalker has 9 movies, right? And out of the 9, you like 4.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Well, my last show I want to talk about in the healthy stream before we move on to the next segment is I finally got around, because I've been bored as all get out, to watching Snowpiercer. And because I've been told a long time ago that, this movie is totally dope. It's done by that Bong Joon-ho, whatever his name is, the guy that made Parasite, won all those Academy Awards. That Snowpiercer is a good movie too. And I'm here to tell you that Snowpiercer is awesome. I really like it. If you're like me and you never saw Snowpiercer, it's really good. It walks that perfect line of being just a good action movie. It stars Captain America himself, Chris Evans, which I didn't even know. That's how little I knew about this movie. But also it does a really good job of kind of talking about society, which seems to be this guy's thing, right? He likes to talk about the different classes of society and economic structure and all those kinds of things. And so the basic concept is the world's ended, it's all frostbit over, and everybody who's left on Earth lives inside this train that has to constantly be moving so it doesn't actually freeze to the tracks. And that the train's called the Snowpiercer. And so the front of the train is where all the rich folk live. And as you move further back, it gets poorer and poorer until the people in the very back are basically slaves. That they, I kept thinking, why do they keep these people and bother even keeping them around if they don't have them doing tons of slave labor? But they would just come and steal their babies. And then I don't want to ruin anything. The reason why they steal the babies is fantastic. So this movie is well done. I liked it a lot, but the reason I kind of got excited about it was TNT or TBS or one of those networks that starts with a T is coming out with a television version of it. The exact same story, but elongated out into a series. And I kind of want to see that too, to see how differently they do it.
And what was the name of that one again?
Snowpiercer. They're both called Snowpiercer.
Oh, okay.
So different actors. Yeah, Snowpiercer across the board. So Snowpiercer the movie, Snowpiercer the show, completely different actors, exact same story. One's a show and one's a movie. They're both made by the same guy. Did you ever see, either one of you ever see the movie?
No.
Yeah, so that's a win. It's on Netflix now. So if you're ever bored, it's a good action movie. If you're already paying for Netflix, it's a good watch. And I think that the Snowpiercer television show comes out sometime in May as well. I should have wrote that down, but I didn't. But it looks.
How come I saw
good.
somewhere said that it's a prequel to like Willy Wonka?
Okay, so that was you. I think you saw that on our Audionots Twitter account. By the way, thank you, Audionuts, for all the following. We're well over 1,000 followers on our Twitter account, so that's totally cool. We're growing slowly but surely. But yeah, some of our Twitter friends were pointing out that there's this Reddit theory that Willy Wonka is the prequel to Snowpiercer, and they have all these crazy ideas of how it works. But the way they write it totally makes sense. I don't think it's true, obviously, with crazy Reddit theories, but it's pretty interesting. So it's crazy, the whole idea.
Wait, which one's the prequel? Willy Wonka's the prequel to it?
Willy Wonka's the prequel to Snowpiercer.
Oh. Wait, the old one or the Johnny Depp one?
Oh, yeah, the old one with Gene Wilder. Okay. So the OG, the original Willy Wonka with Gene Wilder, according to Reddit, no one else, is the prequel to Snowpiercer the film. So
Reddit knows all, man.
Well, Reddit can tell you all, and they do a good job of explaining themselves. I give them that. So I thought that was pretty cool. But other than that, you guys have anything else you've been watching lately that you want to talk about before I move on?
I haven't.
No.
Oh, I started watching Schitt's Creek.
Oh, yes. Schitt's Creek is the best. And plus, you get to say shit's a bunch.
Yeah.
So
It's
what do you
pretty
think?
funny. Like you said, it's pretty funny. All the characters are really annoying at first, but you kind of like get to know them better and you like them better.
Yeah, that's what I found is I've never seen a sitcom that had better character development than Schitt's Creek. Because if you don't give it past a few episodes, because they start off, they make you not want to like the main characters. They're all
Yeah.
kind of rich and snobby, and they've all got all sorts of weird issues. But they do such a good job of showing character growth throughout the season that by the time it's over, you love every single one of them. So if you're watching it now, I know you're early onto it, and there's like a character or two that you still don't like. I bet you money by the time you finish it, you'll like them.
I don't like the mom, dude.
You will. You will. I'm telling you. You think they're all awful, but they
I
get
hate
better.
the mom.
I feel like that show reminds me of like Arrested Development or like
Yes.
Always Sunny. Like I haven't seen it, but like from what I've seen and what people have talked about, I'm like it kind of gives me that vibe.
Yeah, they do a
Yeah.
really good job because they don't have a lot of settings, you know. So the settings around either the motel that they live in or the small town that they're in. And so, yeah, it's all verbal wordplay. So most of the jokes are just really fun things that they say. And like I
Yeah.
said, the character development's impressive. The other thing that really impressed me was the one character is, Ren and I talked offline, it's pansexual, which is, I'm still learning. But they don't make it a point to constantly, like a lot of television nowadays likes to be woke. And part of that wokeness is always like making your story evolve around these different sexual things, which is perfectly fine. It's good that everybody's getting their fair shake and whatever. But this kid is that, but that's just what he is. It's not, it doesn't define him as part of his
Right.
character, which is really unusual on TV. Because in real life, I'm sure that people's sexuality doesn't define who they are for the most part. And so they do a really good job of that too. I was kind of impressed with how they handle that, and that even though it's definitely who he is, they're not like, he doesn't get barraged with it. No one seems to care. Like everybody's just like, yeah, whatever. It's all
I
good.
think he's like my favorite character right now too of the show.
He also happens to be the head writer and the producer of the show. And for those who don't know, that is his real dad. They're related in real life. So, and his real sister is Twyla, the lady that runs the tropical cafe. So it's a family affair.
American Pie dad
Is his real dad.
Wow.
You can tell. Look at their eyebrows. They got matching
bushy
eyebrows.
brows, dude.
Yeah.
Dude is like freaking thick.
Yeah. So yeah, that's his real dad. It's a great show. I'm trying to think I had any other hot Schitt's Creek facts, but I'm not sure that I do. But yeah, I recommend it. 2 thumbs up.
I might finish it.
Yeah, you should finish it. It's a good show. We're gonna take a real quick break, and then we're gonna come back with our news jacuzzi. On the flip side, we've got to talk about Regal and AMC. They got themselves some big beef with Universal. I gotta tell you some sad news. There's no Cox gonna be in Spider-Man. Oh no Cox. And Tom DeLonge has proven to the government that UFOs are in fact real, and they agree. So we're gonna hit you with that on the flippity flip. And we're back. And we're gonna stick our toes in this news jacuzzi and see what's bubbling up. The first story I wanted to talk about was, I don't know if you saw this, Universal decided because of COVID, because COVID's, ruining everything.
Freaking
Rona. COVID has ruined a lot of movies, and one movie that it's ruined recently, or didn't actually end up ruining, is Trolls World Tour. Instead of going to the theaters where it probably would have made a few bucks, but who knows how much. I'm not a huge Trolls fan myself. They released it on VOD, video on demand, and in the most shocking news ever, probably because everybody's stuck at home with their families, even though it costs $19.99 to watch Trolls video on demand.
For real?
For real. By the way, did either one of you watch Trolls video on demand?
No.
No takers? Nothing? Okay. Anyways, everybody else except for the 3 of us apparently watched Trolls video on demand because it made over $100 million.
That's insane.
Yeah. And so here's what happened. Universal starts scratching their chin and they say, you know what? I'm not sure we need to put movies out in the theater exclusively. We're going to do both. And so they announced to the world, hey, guess what, guys? We're so happy with this that from here on out, every movie we make is going to be both in the theater and on demand at the same time. So if you don't want to go out and risk, catching the Rona, you could stay home watching on your big ass TV you have hanging on the wall, and it's all good. Well, AMC and Regal, the two biggest movie theater chains in the United States, didn't take well to that. AMC was the first. They came out and said, listen, we're officially banning Universal movies. So they can say what they want, but you won't be able to watch Universal Studios movies at AMC theaters anymore, including our US and European locations.
It's a fight.
Yeah, this is like they say like these guys are fist fighting. And then Regal said, wow, that's pretty cool. I can't believe they did that. Hey, you can't watch Universal Studio movies at Regal anymore either. And so they came out, they joined up. And so you will no longer, so I'm sorry guys, we won't be able to go watch Trolls World Tour at our local Regal or AMC theater when all is good, because they've officially banned all Universal Studio movies.
You can watch it at home though.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's only gonna like prove their point. But so yeah, you have to watch it. It's, like here, I live in a little puny town that has like a $2 Chuck movie theater complex, and you can just roll in there. They'll probably play it there. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's the future. And we've talked about that before. That I think that that's where everything is going, where you'll have that choice. So if you want to go to the movie theaters, yeah. If you don't, you're gonna watch it at home. But I'm still wouldn't be shocked, like we talked about last episode, if the coronavirus and viruses of this nature ruin these big cineplexes. I think that maybe the higher end places, because they become more event style, can stay open. But otherwise, I don't know that these big guys are going to be able to afford to stay open like this.
It's like that one commercial. It's like, when brands compete, you win. You is us. We win.
We win.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like there's definitely, it's going to be hard for like the big theaters to make a whole lot of money, and to say that they're going to cut out all Universal movies.
Yeah,
it's
like
a
big deal.
I don't see that being smart on their part. Like I get that, it's like they're starting to fight almost, like, is there, it's not like they make much money off the movie. They make all their money on concessions or whatever. So you got to think Universal, if they're making $20 a person instead of whatever they charge the theater, which is probably like $5 or less.
Right.
Like they got to be losing all sorts of money if they're going to cut all those out. Because how many other studios are going to be like, hey, that's working for Universal, we'll do that too.
Yeah, and I think that what they're seeing is that the family pictures, because, I know you have kids, I have kids. It's a pain in the butt with little kids to drag them into a movie theater. And when you think about, like, I have a family of 5. When we go to the movie theater, it costs us $60. You get the tickets, you buy popcorn, you buy a drink for $28. You get loaded in there, and like with younger kids, they all of a sudden they're like sick of it halfway through. I can see why $20 seems like a bargain. I got that same 5 people at home plus a couple of their friends spending the night. Absolutely, I can see children's movies or young adult kids movies killing it on video on demand.
Yeah, any sort of family movie, like you could have a party and be like, hey, all my friends and family, come on over. Let's watch this brand new movie that just came out for $20. We'll split it even, like you watch with a few other families.
Yeah, it's like when I was young, we used to do that with boxing and like UFC. We would invite all. It costs $65, $70 to watch pay-per-view, but when you get 40 of your friends over, it's no big deal. So yeah, I think the AMC and Regal are making a mistake, and I wouldn't be shocked if we see, we've made up, it's all good now, Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say Regal's gonna be like, hey, we'll take Universal.
I know.
No, I think that they got their panties in a bunch, and they're all having a hissy fit.
No, someone's gonna change their mind when the money starts speaking for everyone.
That's just it. Money talks. So my
it's
next
like
story,
we watch Onward. Man, that movie was good.
Yeah, it was great. That was a fantastic movie.
Yeah, I didn't have to pay for it. It was awesome.
Well, you paid for it because you have Disney Plus.
Yeah.
$3.
Yeah, $3. You invite 50 friends over, charge them $5 a piece.
Yeah. Did you watch that thing, though? It's a good movie.
I did. It's a great movie.
Yeah, great movie. My next story, it has to do with Spider-Man and a rumor that was all but true in the Twitter worlds. Everybody kept saying it was real. I saw it all over social media. Everybody had their sources, fake news sources. Apparently, they went all Trumpian on us and fake news the crap out of us. So we had heard that Charlie Cox, the one and only Daredevil from the Netflix
Yeah.
Daredevil, was going to be in Spider-Man 3, and he was going to play, obviously, Spider-Man's lawyer. And
Matt
I mean,
Murdock.
there was so much news from every direction, real sources, everybody saying this was happening. And I thought, this is cool, because I've always enjoyed his version of Daredevil, much better than Ben Affleck. It was good. And it turns out that Charlie Cox decided to get on Twitter, and he said, well, if they're doing that, they didn't tell me. So best case scenario.
He couldn't see it, you know?
Yeah. Good one. Best case scenario, they are doing something and they've just replaced Charlie Cox as the actor in Daredevil. They're introducing the new cinematic MCU Daredevil with some sort of, hopefully not Ben Affleck once again, Daredevil. But it would have been cool for us fans of the Daredevil show, because that was one of the only two really good Marvel shows on Netflix, I thought.
Yeah, that and Jessica Jones.
Oh, I'm going to punch you. Wait, it's this way. Did you ever watch Daredevil, Stagmo?
I have not seen Daredevil, but I keep wanting to see it. I just got to finish my other shows.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, when you get time, if you ever decided to jump into the Netflix Marvel stuff, Daredevil and Punisher are really the only watchable ones. If you're super bored, you could always watch Defenders. Otherwise, it's pretty much all crap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then I saw Tom DeLonge, the singer. He had taken some video, and he had found some video that had been leaked of these UFOs, and he's a big UFO guy. And so he kept posting about it for years. It's been out for almost 3 years, these leaked videos, about how this was real. They couldn't show that it was fake. And it's basically some grainy U.S. Navy fighter pilot footage of what looks like specks flying around, and you can hear them.
Yeah.
They locate it. I don't know if you guys have seen this video.
Yeah.
It's been floating around for a while. So anybody who hasn't seen it, if you just look up Navy U.S. UFO videos, you'll find it. But the United States government, the Pentagon themselves, came out a couple of days ago and said, in fact, that they cannot prove that it is anything else other than an unidentified flying object. So this still doesn't necessarily mean aliens, which we all like to jump to.
Aliens, dude.
How cool would that be?
Yeah. I have a guy that I acquaintances with, and on Facebook, he is like a conspiracy theory nut.
Yeah.
And so
what's he saying?
his latest thing, and this happened before like that whole story broke, is that the next big like thing that's going to happen is going to be a fake alien invasion where the government or whoever, major elite of, the Masonic or the, whoever the conspiracy big group that's in charge of everything is, they're going to like fake an alien invasion. So that's coming. You watch his, what he says, you watch it for it.
I wouldn't be shocked. Honestly, what 2020 has done to us so far, an alien invasion wouldn't even make any of us blink. I'm like, okay, that checks out.
What's
That's
next?
probably where Corona came from, right?
Yeah. Well, maybe it'll be like War of the Worlds. Remember, the big plot to War of the Worlds is the aliens were pretty much kicking our behinds up and down the road until all of a sudden they got sick. Like, oh, we can't handle your human viruses, and they all croaked.
Well, like,
so the twist, what we don't know is the 2020 twist is that the Rona is going to finish the aliens off. We're fine.
Yeah. So Rona is actually helping us, not.
Yeah,
it's
we're
not
all
bad.
worried about it. We just didn't know.
So we got to make sure we stock up on the virus so that we can give it to the aliens.
Yeah.
That's the key. It's the key. I'm going to start writing that spec script right now and sell it to Quibi in 10-minute episodes. So in my last story, and I forgot to actually tease this one before we wrap up the episode because we've been talking for a good time now. It's been perfect. Is shockingly enough, for all the quarantiners out being stuck at home, sheltering at home, I read this article on CNN that alcohol, beer sales have skyrocketed.
Yeah.
You guys must be shocked by that news, right? So I wanted to play a quick little game because I have it right here. I want to see if either one of you can guess what. So we have 4 brands that have taken substantial leaps in sales. One jumped 44% in sales, which is pretty extravagant. One jumped 14, one jumped 17, and one jumped 7. So you guys want to take any stabs at which 4 beers have profiteered off of coronavirus?
You know, I was gonna say Corona.
No, that's
they went
heard that
down.
they shut down.
yeah. The Corona sales, you're absolutely correct. Corona sales have been hurt so poorly that they've had to shut down most of their factories, which is sad for that company.
I know it's at work. Like that's usually the one we buy. So it's like, oh, the one that we actually like buy and people drink at work is like gone.
It should be cheaper now, right?
I know.
So I'm gonna give you guys some hints. So
Okay.
think cheap nationally known beer. So if you're stuck at home and you're gonna throw on your mask and your rubber gloves and venture out into the grocery store and risk your life with the aliens and the coronavirus, which cheap beer are you buying? And it's probably one of the ones that has taken a huge jump in sales.
I gotta say, like Coors Light and PBR have got to be on that list somewhere.
Shockingly, no.
What?
Well,
You're so
Bud
close.
Light?
You're so
Bud
there.
Light.
It is.
Yeah.
So close.
All right. So what do you?
All right. So
what's your
numero
guess,
uno.
Ren?
Well, he said Bud Light, and it's owned by Bud, so I should actually not give him the points here if we're playing a game. The winner at 44% increase is Busch Light, which is
Busch.
owned by Anheuser-Busch, which is, the most garbagey beer. You might as well just drink water, my friends.
Yeah.
You know, all these young folks out there thinking they're getting drunk. You got to drink like 2 sixers of that thing to get walk funny, so I don't know what you're doing. But, yeah, that bad boy jumped 44%.
Wow.
Damn, Busch.
But
That was like the beer during college because it was perfect for beer pong.
Yeah, and like Stagmo said early, PBR. We used to drink PBR by the keg.
Yeah.
So Busch Light jumped 44%. In second place was our friends to the south, Modelo.
That was my
jumped
second guess.
by 17%. Okay, let's hear what's your third guess? It's another light beer. Hint, hint, hint. Big name, but not as big as Bud Light or Coors.
Dos Equis?
Nope, not Dos Equis.
Heineken.
That's too expensive. We're talking cheap beer.
Oh, light beer. I don't even know my
It's
beer.
got to be Red Stripe, right?
I don't know. Is Red Stripe available everywhere?
I don't know.
No, it's Miller Lite. So Miller Lite, specifically Michelob Ultra, which is they're all the same company. A lot of people don't realize that these are all the same company. So people are at least watching their calories. So good for them. Because I've been watching my calories, I only drink Michelob Ultra Light, which is only 2 carbs. Free plug. Send me some for free. Last but not least,
did you see the old lady that like she said something like she just wanted to get some beer and like I can't remember what company it was. I think it was Coors Light, maybe.
Yeah, it was
They
Bud Light,
sent
right?
her a bunch.
Yeah.
Really?
It was like her house is like full of it.
Yeah.
Does she live locally? Can I go visit her?
I can't remember was it Coors Light? Do you know, Ren?
I thought it was Bud because I remember blue, like maybe I don't know.
Oh, that
one of
I
the
think it
two.
was Bud.
Yeah.
Nice. So what she said on the news or something? I never saw this story, so you guys are like breaking the old lady news to
93-year-old
me.
woman gets special beer delivery after going viral. And it was, what kind of beer was it?
Damn, why can't we go
Coors.
viral?
It was Coors.
Coors.
Yeah.
She's keeping those mountains.
She was on her
cool.
last 12 cans. She has a beer every night.
That's how she lived to 93.
Yeah.
Every person I've ever seen interviewed, they're like, how'd you make it to 100? Every single one of these fools is always some sort of alcohol. Whiskey and cigars. I'm like, oh my gosh. Now I know.
Coors Light.
But they
Coors
delivered
Light.
10 cases to her.
Damn.
So we got to make sure everybody knows we want our free beer too. Whatever brand you say, we'll say it a bunch of times. You know,
There you
back
go.
in the day, PBR, Pabst Blue, actually used to sponsor college parties until they finally got sued. Yeah, so if you were an intuitive college kid in like the late 90s, early aughts, you could call PBR. They had a phone number and tell them that and if you had a certain amount of people, they would sponsor you and give you the first keg for free until they had a few kids partake a little too much and they had to quit doing that legally.
Wow.
Anyways, to finish our game, the very last company was the High Life itself. Miller High Life had a sales jump of over 7%. So they didn't finish quite as high as those other guys. But yeah, I think the lesson to be learned here is cheap beer that doesn't get you all that drunk sells pretty well.
Man, it sucks to be in Portland.
I know all their fancy beers.
Yeah.
I saw that the OLC here in Oregon is trying to their best to make it so the restaurants can deliver alcohol to our house. So we're all kind of wishing on that because, as you know, it's so nice now to have all this food delivery options. It's the best thing ever. But currently the restaurants can't also bring you a cocktail. And as you said, Portland is full of signature cocktails. So somebody needs to start delivering those $16 cocktails. Otherwise, we're going to riot.
It's too expensive for me.
Yeah. So you guys have anything else you want to add before we say good night and good evening?
No, I think I'm good. It's good to be on the show with you guys.
Yeah, glad to have you on.
Yeah, thank you so much for guesting. You're our first ever guest. Hopefully this turns out good. And we've been getting a lot of hits on our Twitter from comic book people. So we might have some comic book designers and stuff come on later if we can figure this out consistently.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Cool. With that, I bid everybody adieu, and we will see you on the flip side.